solar field and stuff. They were here asking questions today.
A lot going on, Rich. That's all I can say.
As soon as it goes to you, I said, I foresee no problems.
Yeah, well, I did all
Did we have the speakers back to the audience?
It should be hard to retool them again with different.
No, I did. I thought you took it off. Hey, I thought you took it off for a bit. Did you take that off?
Different vendors.
No, I thought it was always good. I just didn't know. I thought the reason you took that off for a reason.
Make sure yours works.
Yeah.
But they're not talking about that, are they? At this stage of the game?
Thank you.
Playing the drums. How are you, Beck?
I'm good.
You made it through Monday, almost.
Just jinxed.
Oh, I got 7. Are you guys ready?
Yep. Let's do this.
I'd like to call the Oglesby City Council meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Baldridge.
Here.
Udis. McDermott.
Here.
Stefani.
Here.
Kern.
Here, I forgot to mention, Commissioner Udis did notify ahead of time that he was not going to be available to be here. Please stand for Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, number 4, public comment on agenda items only. Seeing that there's none. Number 5, approve minutes from the April 1st, 2024 City Council meeting and executive session. If there's no additions, corrections, or modifications, can I get a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second that motion.
Roll call, please.
Baldridge.
Aye.
McDermott.
Aye.
Stefani.
Aye.
Kern.
Aye. Number 6, approve revised minutes from March 18th, 2024 council meeting. I guess there was just one item that was accidentally let off,
Yes.
and the item's actually fixed tonight with actually the, which one was it again? Power sales contract, I believe.
Yep.
If there's no corrections or additions, can I get a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve the March 18th minutes.
I'll second that.
Roll call, please.
Baldridge.
Aye.
McDermott.
Aye.
Stefani.
Aye.
Kern.
Number 7, approve bills as presented for payment in the amount of $263,523.88. If there's no additions or corrections, can I get a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Baldridge.
Aye.
McDermott.
Aye.
Stefani.
Aye.
Kern.
Aye. Number 8, approve April 12th, 2024 payroll in the amount of $114,859.27. If there's no changes or modifications, if I can get a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the April 12th, 2024 payroll in the amount of $1148.59.27.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Baldridge.
Aye.
McDermott.
Aye.
Stefani.
Aye.
Kern.
Aye. Number 9, presentation by Connie Buchanan from NCICG on housing grant. If you would, please, that'd be wonderful. Do you need the screen or anything?
Hello?
Is it slid up towards you, the button on it?
Just pull it
Then
up.
you're on. Yep, you're on.
Okay. I am Connie Buchanan with North Central Illinois Council of Governments, and I'm here tonight to speak about a housing rehabilitation program that we've been administering for about the past 5 years here in North Central Illinois. It's a grant that has been available for about 40 or 50 years downstate, but as of about 5 years ago, we brought it up here to North Central Illinois. We're in the process of closing on rehabilitating 85 homes in the Illinois Valley, and we will be launching another 6 grants that will be rehabilitating another 66 homes throughout the Illinois Valley in the next six to 8 weeks. So what this is, it's a community development block grant, and it comes from the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. We also partner with Tri-County Opportunities Council, and there's $7 million available throughout the state of Illinois, with a maximum of $650,000 being available per community. So the communities come to us to apply. The goal is to do about 10 to 12 homes. Each home can have a maximum of up to $60,000 worth of rehabilitation. The anticipated due date for this particular grant is January of 2025. If the city decides to apply, there is quite a few things that have to happen before that date. But the first thing that we do is we discuss the grant with the community. And the objective is to identify homeowners from within the city that live in single-family owner-occupied homes that have low to moderate income. And by doing that, we either pick a census tract from within the city that has the highest census of low to moderate income residents residing in that census tract, or some of the cities and communities are small enough that we can do the entire community. The first thing that we do is we send out a survey. And the survey basically is how many people live in the house, check if it's a female head of household, how many people live in the home that are 62 or older, how many people have physical or developmental disabilities in the household, do you own your home, and if you rent your home, you're not eligible. Then it does ask about the minority benefit determination for the ethnicity. People can choose to answer or not. They do collect that data down in Springfield. And then there is there's a guideline for the low to moderate income. And basically, if you look at I know it's confusing, but there's 3 levels of income. So if you had 2 people in your household, you could make $52,500. As long as you make that or under for your gross income, then you would be eligible. The only reason that it's separated by 30, 50, and 80% median is that people that have very low income, seniors, and people with disabilities have a higher priority per the grant that comes from HUD. So we survey the people, they let us know where they fall in the income brackets, and on the back side of the survey, the top only just asks the homeowner to identify the following: how many rooms are in the house, not counting your bathroom? Is your house connected to central sewer? Are any major improvements needed? And you just basically say yes or no to roofing, plumbing, electrical, wiring, heating, foundation, or other. Is your home a 1 or 2 story? And does your home have a basement or a crawl space? So all of those surveys come back to us in the office, and we have our inspector go out and identify by doing what we call a sidewalk assessment. So basically he's walking along the outside of the house. He's looking at the windows, the roof, the soffit, the fascia, the wiring going to and from the home, the foundation, and he's scoring all of the properties. We turn in, if we anticipate doing a minimum of 10 homes, we want to get at least 30 qualifying surveys back for a 3-to-1 ratio. The reason being is that gets more points on the application process. That shows the state that the city of Oglesby has a need for such a program. And so they're by completing the survey, they're helping the city to qualify. It's part of the application process. And if the inspector finds a good example of what would be a minor renovation, a moderate, and a major, then he would knock on the door and ask if he could look around. He would include that potential estimate with the application process. So all of the surveys are going in, but then an estimate would also go in for a minor, moderate, and major renovation so that they get a good idea of what work would need to be done. Now, every home wouldn't require the full $60,000. So the more of the minor and moderates that we also can do, then that makes the money go further. And by partnering with Tri-County Opportunities, they can also come in and do weatherization, insulation, HVAC repairs. And so that will take some of those items off of our list and make our grant money go further, and therefore we can do more homes. So with that being said, the focus again is very low income, elderly and disabled, and the renovations are pertaining to health and safety. We always joke that it's not HGTV. We're not coming in and remodeling your home. We're not getting granite countertops. You may want a Cadillac, but you're getting a Chevy. So we do have cost allowances that will suffice for any renovation that we're doing. It's kind of middle of the road, not high end, because we don't want to be wasteful with money. But we want to improve the housing stock, not only for the community, but that will also keep the residents in those homes longer. It's all made possible by what we refer to as a 5-year forgivable loan. And basically what that is that the homeowner agrees to stay in the home for 5 years following the rehabilitation, because that prevents fraud. So basically, we wouldn't want to renovate a home, put $60,000 into a home, and have a person turn around and flip it and make a profit. So they're basically asking the homeowner to agree to stay in the home. That does bar any unforeseen circumstances. So obviously, because we are working with seniors and people with disability, the chances are that they could potentially have to go to a nursing home, or they could even pass away. And if that's the case, then it's null and void. Nothing goes against their estate. So the eligible rehab costs cover labor, material, replacement of principal fixtures, water and sewer connections. Right now, everything is really big with lead compliance. We can replace lead lines. We anticipate that any paint that was applied prior to 1978 contains lead and therefore has to be abated properly. All of our contractors are lead licensed, RRP certified, and they have to follow the work order. We do a lot of handicap accessibility. We do a lot of 90% of accidents happen in the bathrooms. And many of the older homes have narrow doorways that would not accommodate a walker or a wheelchair getting in and out. We do grab bars. We have the walk-in showers, good lighting so that, they can get around safely in the dark. We put a lot of magnified numbers on the house for first responders so that they can find the home easier in the dark. So in order to compose an application, the project need, the maximum points on the application would be 20 points. So we would want to identify a project area with the highest low to moderate census income in that area. Again, we'd have to look at the census tracts to see. You guys always know your residents and your town better than anyone. You can pretty much in your head say the east side, the west side, the north side, where the homes are older and would need this type of work. The project impact, again, that's a maximum of 20 points, and the goal would be to get 3-to-1 surveys back. So if we anticipate doing a minimum of 10 homes, we need at least 30 surveys to include with the application. The coordination of resources. This is a maximum of 30 points. And what this is that the communities commit between 5,000 and 20,000 toward the project. 5,000 is the least amount of points. It goes in 5,000 increments. 20,000 is the maximum amount of points. What this is known as it's referred to as a commitment of funds. So in order to apply, the cities or villages will let us know how much they're willing to commit to the project. They do not have to come up with the money. And, you know, in order to do the application, the only time you would actually have to come up with the money is if the application, the funding is awarded, you know, a year or so down the road. Many of the villages and towns, depending on their size, the money can come from anywhere. It can come from a general fund from within the city's budget. It can come from the local bank. It can come from fundraising efforts. It can just be committed, and then you can worry about where it's going to come from later if the grant is awarded. That money goes toward the work on the first home. That just shows the state that the city of Oglesby is committed to a project like this. Project readiness, that again is maximum of 30 points. In order to get those amount of points would be, if you apply, we would have a public hearing and we would want 10 homeowners represented of people that actually filled out a survey, a qualifying survey. We would turn in the sign-in sheet and they would match those addresses to the surveys. And that's how we get the most points on the application process. So our job is basically to chase the points because it is a competitive grant. There's $7 million available for the state of Illinois. Last year, NCICG wrote 6 grants and we were awarded all 6 grants and got half of the entire state of Illinois. So we're very committed to chasing those points and making that application the strongest that it could possibly be. Are you confused? You have a look on your face.
No, you're fine.
Okay. I did include some before and after pictures. You can see, obviously, we do siding, windows, doors. We do wheelchair ramps. We do new roofs. We do handicap accessible bathrooms, a lot of handicap accessible bathrooms. Entryways so that people can get in and out of their home safely. We can't do the sidewalks that run perpendicular with the road, but we can do the walkway to the house, especially, it just seems we're on our second grant over in Spring Valley and almost everyone needed sidewalks. I don't know if the trees were breaking up the sidewalks, but they were very dangerous. So we did a lot of those. Do you have any questions? I know that's a lot of information.
Did you say you had 6 applications and all 6 got approved?
Correct.
And that was half of the entire state of
Half
Illinois?
the entire state
That is
of
an
Illinois.
impressive stat. Congratulations.
Yes, and we hit the ground running, so.
So make sure I understand what it is. So you're looking for a commitment from the city would be in increments of 5,000. So either 5, 10, 15, or 20,000 to get $650,000
Correct.
worth of grants.
Correct, yes.
Well, that sounds very impressive. We have been considering a couple different things to try to help. Like, for example, one of the ones we're considering is the whole check valve incentive program for people that have had some issues. But again, that's like 1 or 2 people, possibly a year that could ever benefit. So this is actually very interesting, the fact that it could really have a significant impact on people's well-being and quality of life. So one of the things I noticed you mentioned is with low to moderate income. It seems to me, it sounds like there's a requirement for not only the individual homeowner to be in the LMI category, but then does it have to be in the zone? Because I know we've tried to, because it says something about project area with LMI.
If you pick a census tract,
Right.
all right, so say for instance, I believe it was the city of Morris, one of their census tract had like a 71% low to moderate income census for, it was probably a 12-block radius. So we surveyed that area and it actually turned out that a lot of those homes, the reason that the low to moderate census was so high was they were renters. So we expanded the project area. Now, some cities and villages are small enough that they can do the entire town. They can just say, you know, let's survey the entire town and see who qualifies. There's good and bad to that. Now, with Oglesby's not huge, like Morris, it has more residents. But what DCEO, where this grant comes from, what they liked about having a project area was that it had an impact on the city. If you had a 12-block radius and you did 12 homes in a 12-block radius, that's pretty impressive. You can see it, rather than one house over on North Street and one house over by the river, and but so there's good and bad. If you did the whole city, and there's people that are outside of a particular project area, again, there's good and bad, there's pros and cons, because if you pick a census tract, you can say, well, we picked this census tract and this is why, but then you might upset somebody a block away that doesn't fit in that census tract.
So when you say the term census tract and project area, one of the things, so my only exposure to the community development block grant program is we've tried in the past to get some of those grants for different infrastructure items, and they go off of an LMI area that's zoned, and it's been very challenging because it has to serve that entire area completely. So when you're saying project area or LMI tract, you're not talking about that specific thing. You're talking about individuals that are surveyed.
Correct.
Correct? Okay.
Correct. So the point spread isn't huge. Say for instance, I believe that if you, this is probably not accurate, but say that if you got a really high, low to moderate income census tract, you might get 10 points. But you don't want to just keep it in that one census tract, so you open it up and include another census tract. Well, now one might be 70% and the one next to it might be 50%, so they get an average.
Mhm.
And your points might drop a couple points because you don't have that 70 and above for your census. But those are minor points. The points that I mentioned on here are attainable, and that's big points. So if you pick the whole town, or if you pick just, the west side of town or something like that, you're not going to, I'd have to look at your census to see where you fall. Whole City has gotten 3 grants and they don't have low to moderate income at all. So it's, that point spread isn't that outrageous that it couldn't be funded.
So since you've had so much success with this, what do you recommend is the first step? Do you do like some kind of public meeting where you see how much interest is available, that people want to come, and then you identify, let's say you get 30 people or more or whatever, you identify those individuals and then you try to survey for those homes to see who can qualify? Is that kind of the process?
The first thing would be I could sit down with whomever the decision makers for the city are, and we could discuss, the census tracts and what type of area you would like to concentrate on. We could pull up the low to moderate census tract for those areas and see where it falls. If you didn't want to do just that, you could say, we just want to do the whole west side. Then we would get addresses from you, from the city, from water bills, whatever. And we would just mail these surveys to those homeowners. And we would say, this survey is for a housing rehabilitation grant. We're going to have a public meeting on such and such a date. Please come and find out more about it. Bring the survey with you. We'll help you fill it out. Your name doesn't have to go on here. We don't have to have any supporting documentation. If you say, I make 28,000, you're not including W-2s or anything. We're just going off of your word that you make 28,000. And we're including those. Again, the survey process is just to help the city to qualify. The people that fill out the surveys are helping the city to qualify. We've had people fill out the surveys that don't even want work done to their home, but they would really like their neighbor's house to get work done. And so you're kind of helping your neighborhood and your city. And between now and when it would actually be funded and when the work would actually begin, it's a process. It could be a year and a half down the road before we were actually ready to start swinging hammers. And this information could drastically change in a year and a half. So once it's funded, then we have more meetings, we make announcements, we have social media, we have newspaper, radio stations, and we say, hey, the city of Oglesby was awarded $650,000. Come to the meeting, I'll help you fill out the application. I go to people's homes and help them fill out the application. I'm available at City Hall to help them fill out the application. And then the inspector and I go through each and every individual home. And we assess what needs to be done with pictures. And then the city comes up with a housing committee. It's usually up to 5 people. It can be anybody. It could be a resident from within the city. It could be the mayor, the city clerk, aldermen, commissioners, whomever you choose. And I put that on a PowerPoint, and the city selects the homes. They all get points based on if they're a senior, they get more points. If they're a veteran, they get more points. If they're very low income, they get more points. If they have a disability, they get more points. But then each city can also add additional points for something that is important to you. It might be important to you that it's a single head of household. It might be important to you that the family is 5 people or more. There's different things that you can add to that point process that is confidential, but you have the power as the committee to have that contribution.
You done? I got one question.
Yes.
Okay, how many people generally would you need to actually fill this out and follow through with it?
We need 30 surveys.
You need 30
30
surveys.
qualifying surveys that would be attached with the application.
How many of them people have to, okay, once you get the qualifying surveys,
Then 10 of those qualifying survey people would need to come to the public hearing.
and would that commit them to follow through on this? or-
They wouldn't have to. They can, but and
You
again,
see
in
what
a
I'm
year and a
getting at.
half, right, in a year and a half, a lot of things could change. Some people that fill out the survey, we take them all the way through, we work on their home, we close it. And some people move away, some people go into a nursing home, some people get a job where they didn't have a job.
So as long as
before.
you get 30 surveys turned in,
Yeah.
a minimum 10 people want to go ahead and go through it, and at the end, let's say you get 5 people, is that still enough?
At the end, we
Yeah.
would
See what I'm saying?
want to do 10 homes at
You have
least.
to have at least 10.
Correct, yes.
Okay.
And once that part comes, it's like a 2-part as far as the application process. The application for the city would be those surveys. That's helping the city to qualify. If you got funded, like, 6 months down the road, they would say if you were funded, then we would actually solicit actual applications with the documentation to prove their income, to prove that they own their
Okay.
home, to prove that they're current with their real estate taxes. And we would process the application there. But we would want to do at least 10 homes in order to get that 650,000.
So you'd have to have 10 homes for that.
Correct.
I thought I asked before, but I'm not certain, and I'd like the public to know as well. Contractors, they'd all be local? Would they have to be union? How would you guys go about
They
that?
do not have to be union. We do have a pool of contractors that have been working with us from the beginning, and they like the work so much they follow us from town to town. But we're always looking for general contractors to add to our pool because we are growing exponentially. Like I said, when I first started 5 years ago, we were doing 3 projects, then it was 4 projects, then now it's 6 projects, and that's 6 towns, and we have LaSalle, Bureau, Putnam, Grundy, so it's a lot of windshield time. So we do have contractors in Coal City, we have contractors in Neponset and Kewanee, and they travel. But the more programs that we get, the more project areas that we get, we need more general contractors, and the general contractors are vetted through us. We keep all of their insurance on file. They have to be registered with SAM.gov, which stands for System Award Management. And it's kind of a background check, but then they can apply for any grant project. They can then get state monies that they're then eligible for that. And then the general contractor has his subcontractors under him.
Okay.
But the inspector goes in and basically writes up the work order, and we have them come through and bid, and whoever has the lowest responsible bid is awarded the.
So it wouldn't necessarily be the contractors from Oglesby doing the work.
It wouldn't necessarily be, but we would love it. We have that a lot of our towns.
Would they get extra points or anything
Yeah.
for being?
It's not extra points, but it's great for the city because it's obviously providing work.
Yeah.
And the first place that we usually go, not every city has it, but most cities have like a registry of contractors that work in the area, and that's the first place we go when a community is looking to apply, and we just start calling and emailing those people. Sometimes they're only heavy equipment, because you use them for your public infrastructure side. And this part is different than the public infrastructure because obviously with public infrastructure, you have like matching funds. It's different. But this particular program, to commit to up to 20,000, our administration and everything is paid out of the grant. So it's pretty much a no-brainer for the communities because you're getting over $500,000 in your community to preserve your housing stock.
No, it sounds wonderful. Let me ask you this. So what would be the time frame for action that you would need from like either the council or the city to make a decision if we were going to move forward with, getting surveys and things like that?
We probably wouldn't start the survey process and everything until probably about October, but you can be thinking now, and you can always, my contact information is obviously in the handout, and you can contact me anytime that you have other questions or you'd like to get together and plan out if you want to do a census tract or if you want to do a certain part of town. And the good thing is many of our communities are on their second, third, and even fourth application because they just you can apply every year. And so okay, you do the west side first, you do the south side second. So the cities can keep applying every year. And if they're funded, you can pretty much saturate everyone in town that fits in the low to moderate income.
Do you think they'd be more favorable to us being that we've never had it before as opposed to someone that's had it 3 or 4 times?
It's all about the points. They really don't look at, they really don't look too much at first time, or we write it in the narrative. This is the first time that the city is applying. For the village of Coal City, what I think helped them because they didn't have the low to moderate income level. They had people in their town that had low to moderate income, but they didn't really have that high percentage census tract that had low to moderate income. What helped them is that they had 2, I think an F3 and an F4 tornado.
Oh.
And so some people might have gotten a new roof or siding, but it didn't do anything on the inside of the home. So a lot of what we were seeing, even though if you drive around Coal City, I think it's only like 4,500 people, the houses look pretty good, but then you get inside and you see that they didn't do any handicap accessibility or flooring or.
I had a follow-up on one of the stats that you gave earlier that I was confused. I congratulate you on having 6 out of 6 applications selected, but then you said something about how some of these cities have done 3 or 4 applications, 3 or 4 years of applications. I guess I didn't understand what you meant by that.
Coal City has had 3 rounds. So I've been there for about 5 years. So they've applied every year and they've gotten it every year.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So Coal City has applied 3 times. Spring Valley is applying for the 3rd time this year. And Marseilles has had it twice. And then this year we'll be going Graceville, Bureau Junction, Coal City,
And
Henry, and
Lad.
Lad
Oglesby.
applied for this next year. Lad applied, and Morris.
Impressive.
So is there a way we can Maybe ask the residents if they'd be interested in this.
Yes, I mean, do you utilize social media?
Put it on Facebook, maybe?
Yeah, you
Put
can
it-
put it on Facebook and say this, this is what we're thinking about. Is there interest? And we can have a meeting and discuss a particular area. We can start with the surveys. If we don't get, the right amount of surveys, what we normally do is we ask for about 75 addresses. We send to those 75 addresses hoping to get 30. If we don't get 30 back, then we might send again to the houses that didn't respond. Sometimes, especially older people, they see something and they think it's not real. I had one lady in Ottawa call the mayor, is this real? And we just finished her house. But then if we don't get enough from that first 75, we'll ask for like 50 more. And we just keep mailing out until we get the right amount of surveys.
Okay,
Question.
got a question?
3 questions. This U.S. Census
That's
tract,
what public comments
is
for.
that
Sure.
available to general public without a fee? Is Oglesby already subdivided in this tract? And the 5,000 and 20,000, is that like payments at various stages of our development of this?
No. All right, so the first question with the census tract, yes, you can log on to low to moderate income census tracts, City of Oglesby, and it will break it down into areas, and it will give a percentage for your census tracts within the city. It has to be city limits. It can't be outside of the city limits. The other question for the 5 to 20, the 5, 10, 15, 20 is a commitment of funds from the city that can come from anywhere. It can come from city funds. It can come from the local bank, a local realtor, the local Lions Club, a fundraiser. It can come from anywhere. But 5,000 is the minimum, 20,000 is the maximum. If you commit to 20,000, you get the most points on the application. You do not have to come up with that money unless the project is funded. And if it's funded, then that 20,000 goes to the first house.
I got a question.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
you could definitely get more done, I think, if you go around. There's a group around here in the fall, and they'll go around, and it's all union people. And you know what they do? They go around and they winterize older people's homes. And you know what they charge?
Like.
So, wait a minute. So, how about if you go to the union and you say, hey, we're getting all this money. You guys donate the labor, and I'll tell you what, there ain't no area like this area.
Drew, do you have a question? Because keep in mind, I know it's a little bit different.
Excuse me,
Hold on.
My question?
Hold on. I don't mind when we have a public presentation that it is a good opportunity for the public to ask questions. I know normally it's in the beginning and near the end, but we don't want to be able to keep our presenters here for a very long time. So if you have a direct question, I think it's an appropriate time to ask.
It is a direct question.
Okay, I heard just a lot of comments, but if you have a
Can you go
question.
farther with free labor?
This particular grant would not allow for volunteer labor. Everyone would have to be paid out of the grant, and they have to go through the vetted process.
It seems like you could get more done with qualified. I'm talking about guys that have been carpenters,
Right,
electricians, all that.
this particular grant
Yep.
isn't set up that way, but that is a great program, and I know Labor of Love does that over in Ottawa as well.
Thank you, Drew. Any questions from up here anymore? Thank you so very much. It sounds like a wonderful program. I think we'll be looking into it more. All right.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Connie.
Next up, number 10, behavior/conduct policy. Stephanie.
All right, thank you. The next two items here go hand in hand, the next two items on the agenda, because of the discussion and the request from our last meeting. What you have in your packets is the behavior and conduct policy with the revisions that we spoke about at the last meeting. One question came up for how discipline is actually handed down, and that's the actual second document. In our personnel policy, it says that you can hand down discipline. It doesn't give any instruction as to how that's even done. I'm of the opinion that Hopefully, we'll never have to do it, but in the event that you do, there has to be a formal process, and it should be the same from department to department. That should not be dynamic or variable. Pat's performed his legal review and edits of both of these documents, so that's what you have in your packet. I reiterate my stance that when it comes to behavior and conduct, it's up to the elected folks to set a good example. And I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have.
So, yeah, so I had some concerns over both of these. The first one, I'll start with the conduct and behavior policy. I see that a lot of things did get modified, which I think is better. But there's three issues. Two are major and one's relatively minor. The big ones are, I noticed that you changed with public statements and appearances and stuff like that. You had that listed as just employees, so it doesn't affect the elected officials. I appreciate that.
And it goes to the mayor now,
Well,
because you're public affairs.
I don't think it really needs to be like that, but if it doesn't affect the other elected officials, then I think it's fine. There's two actual employees though that I think need to be excluded from this. That's important as well. I noticed that the police chief and the fire chief are not listed. To me, they are similar to the elected officials, at least when it comes to their roles and their duties. Because there will be times, obviously, you know this, that if there's a fire or something like that, the media is going to have questions for the fire chief and they answer things directly. I think that's important there. So that's one. The second item was, you have a thing in here about elected officials and employees. I understand with employees should not authorize the use of their names, photographs, or official titles that identify them as an Oglesby member in connection with testimonials or advertisements of any commodity or commercial enterprise without the approval of the city council. So I agree when it comes to employees, and I agree with even elected officials. We shouldn't be doing advertisements for commodities. However, the other two items, I don't know if I agree with. I mean, I've done it twice myself here. I've been asked to, and I've had it as commissioner and as the mayor. I've had an incoming business ask for something like, for example, the fiber optic. They asked for a public quote because they wanted to, and I put something out there like, very excited to see that fiber optic opportunities coming to the city. So what I'm saying is, with this writing, that would not be allowed.
I don't know about all that.
It says without the approval of the city council.
What are we looking at specifically here?
Elected officials,
What, give me a number.
number 13.13.
Abuse of position?
Yep.
Okay, elected officials and employees should not use their official positions.
That's all good.
Official identification.
That's the
Okay,
last sentence.
the last sentence. Well, you have to read the whole thing to understand and put it in context. Elected officials and employees should not use their official positions, official identification cards, or badges to avoid consequences of illegal acts or for non-work related personal gain. Do you understand what that means so far? Are we clear on that? I'm going to take you through this. I'm trying to help you here. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer them, but
Sure.
okay. Employees shall not lend to another person their identification cards, badges, or permit their identification cards or badges to be photographed or reproduced without the approval of the commissioner having oversight. That's employees. So in other words, a police officer can't give his badge to his buddy so that his buddy misrepresents and says, hey, I got pulled over and yeah, I'm a cop in Oglesby. That's what that's referring to. I hope that clarifies that. Elected officials and employees shall not authorize the use of their names, photographs, or official titles that identify them as a City Oglesby member in connection with testimonials or advertisements of any commodity or commercial enterprise without the approval of the city council. So if you're going to go and do something that's going to be profitable for yourself on behalf, because of your role as the mayor of the city of Oglesby or my role as the commissioner for the city of Oglesby, you should probably get approval from the city council to do something like that.
I agree. That's not what so I said that specifically.
Well,
Advertisements or any commodity, I completely agree. It's the portion about commercial enterprise or connection with testimonials. Because there will be times that people will come up to you and ask you about something that you're directly involved with and ask you maybe for a quote.
Well, let's
Or
ask the
you for-
attorney. Pat, do you have would you like to weigh in on that kind of thing?
Not my decision, Tony.
Okay.
Well, shouldn't that be brought to the council?
Pat, let me ask you this question.
Well, it's going to eventually go to the labor council,
Right.
so.
In the past, for
Well, I
example,
have to.
when Surf Internet has asked me, either as commissioner or as mayor, to say, hey, we're looking to drum up the interest for this program that you're bringing in Oglesby. Would you mind giving us a quote? And I give them a quote of how I'm looking forward to getting fiber optic to the internet, and then we are enjoying working with SURF to try to bring that to people. I read this as connection with testimonials or commercial enterprises.
I would agree.
So would you
There you go.
not come before the council before you did such a thing? Is that not something you would share with the other elected folks?
When I'm asked to give a quote, I have
Sure.
to wait 2 weeks to give a quote as the mayor of the city of Oglesby, or even as a commissioner, if it's something within your roles. I don't think that, again, I am against trying to handcuff or tell elected officials what they need to do for any kind of public speech in any way, shape, or form.
I don't think this has anything to do with public speech. I think this has to do with a for-profit
I completely, again,
engagement.
well, that's not what that reads to
Yeah,
me.
it doesn't
Well, that's
say
not
that,
what it
though.
reads to you, but okay, that can be added in then. So for-profit, we need to add into that.
And that'd be fine then.
Okay, is there any other concerns that you have?
Yep, it's
I'm
back
happy
the-
to address them.
All right, thank you. Back to the original one. I see that you softened the language up when it came to political activity and electioneering stuff and things like that. You softened it up. Really, the biggest thing I saw was the last sentence in there that says, the intent is not to restrict a person's free speech, but rather to separate political activity from the workplace. I could not agree more.
I believe I can help you with that.
But that's the first line. The second line is where the problem is. I get it. I get that you're trying to say, so when you say members are also prohibited from engaging in any political activity off duty while wearing any uniform items or equipment that could identify them as members of the city of Oglesby. I get what you're trying to say, right? The problem with that is I don't want to be any part of trying to tell somebody what they're going to do when they're not at work in any way, shape, or form.
All right, can I try and help you with this?
I don't know why you keep saying that. I don't know if I need help. I was right on the other.
Well, I'd
two.
like
Go
to
ahead.
answer your question. I mean, you give a statement here and then you don't want to hear it, so I'm trying to answer your question. So the best, I mean, I explained this last meeting, but I'm going to give it a try again. The best example I can give you that might make sense is this. In a couple of years from now, when I run against you for mayor and a majority of the employees are walking around here with a Vote Stefanelli button on and none of them are walking around with a reelect Curran button, you may not like that and take exception to that. And then you may take the position that I'm advocating for here, that electioneering in the workplace is unacceptable. So I really don't know how better I can explain it, but that's it. When you're outside of here and you're on your own time, that's fine. You can do all that. But when you're here and you're representing the city of Oglesby, your job is to represent the city of Oglesby, not to talk about who your preferred candidate is for public office. And we can do that. We can set those rules because the employee is being paid. They're acting in service of the city of Oglesby. It has nothing to do with limiting their free speech because they still get that. But in the workplace, electioneering is unacceptable.
So I agree 100%, but that's not what this says. You're talking your way around circles. That is the first sentence.
It seems
When
pretty
they're
clear to
on duty
me.
and they're at work, yeah, they should be
Yeah,
wearing
when-
a button. They shouldn't be doing any of that stuff. But
Mhm.
when they get done, if they want to go for Stefanelli's button as much as they want, God bless them.
But can a police officer in his uniform with a badge on go knock on somebody's door? Hello, I'm here for Commissioner Stefanelli, who's going to be running for mayor. Would you be willing to vote for him? Is that acceptable?
I agree.
Okay,
You're right.
that's what that last line.
It's in poor taste.
Well, that's what it means. The last line. Is
My-
it acceptable or
My
not?
thing is, I don't want to be part of telling people what they're going to do. and what they're
Okay,
not
well
gonna
then vote against
Well,
it.
I
That's all.
believe what he's trying to say, Jason, is the gentleman would be in a uniform asking him for somebody to vote for
do. I get that.
Stefanelli or you or anybody
It's
else.
inappropriate.
Yeah, but it also says the word could identify. I mean, this is a small community. Everybody knows who works here. I don't want to have anything to do.
You got to
with
have
telling people
rules
what
and
to do.
standards. If you don't like it, all I could tell you is vote against it.
Okay.
That's all.
All right. So your next item, personnel complaints and disciplinary procedures. You got 3,035 words in this thing. It's 7 pages.
Mhm. Yeah, it's a professional document. That's what they
I
look
do
like.
not understand why we need to keep making more and more documents and things that talk about that. We have talked about this till we're blue in the face months ago about the personnel policy. In
Mhm.
there is multi-pages that talk about the personnel discipline policy. And we have determined that the commissioners have full authority and the sole authority to do what they want to do in those situations. Okay?
Okay.
So to me, dictating how somebody's going to do I don't have a problem with having a format that people can utilize, but it's their sole discretion. The words in there was the sole discretion of what they'd like to do. If one,
No, it was their sole discretion if they were going to hand down discipline or not.
Okay,
Not what they want to do. What they want to do, they have to do according to labor law and according to the union contract. And that's what's laid out here.
Well,
It's telling you how to do it.
my thing is if a commissioner doesn't want to go through all those steps that you've laid out here, I think they have the right to do that.
I think then we put ourselves in legal jeopardy. And
Okay.
as a city, we
I-
have in the past, and this is why we're trying to
I
professionalize
do
it.
agree. That was my problem with the sole authority whole thing, if you remember. But so that's just one of the minor things. Again, I don't mind that you have a nice format here that people could utilize if they so choose. That's fine. The bigger issue is what I think you tried to sneak in here at the end. 14.8, discipline involving elected officials. You have steps and procedures in here to discipline elected officials if they take
You
actions.
should probably
against-
read it.
Sure. All elected officials are entrusted with greater level expectations. Thumbs up. I think we all
Mhm.
probably agree with that.
Sure.
Next one. Elected officials should act in a manner consistent with what is expected of those under their supervision. I think we're all on board. Here's where it gets haywire. C, elected officials may be subject to disciplinary action as allowed by law, and any such action shall be determined by the city council.
Sure.
So you're going to say the city council is going to determine discipline based on actions that they may or may not like that an elected official took? And then more importantly, D, elected officials may be subject to censure by the city council for any actions have been deemed a violation of any behavior/conduct standard or other policy of the city of Oglesby or violation of any state or federal law. There's a lot of issues with this. All right, censure doesn't really mean, do you know what censure means?
I do know what censure means. Do you know what it means?
Yeah, it does. Right? It
It's
basically-
it's a formal punishment that's handed down by the body.
It is not a formal punishment.
Okay. It's an
It
admonishment.
is
How's
a-
that?
It is a statement of disagreement with the public body that they're citing, that they're not happy with that individual. It
Okay.
holds no actual disciplinary weight. It does a little bit when we get up to like the Congress level and stuff like that, because they have a political party that'll prevent them from their support in the future. But it doesn't prevent them in what they're doing. So all it is you're making a means to say that we don't agree with what you're saying. Let me give you an example. Here's a hypothetical. Let's say we had a member of this council that were to do something at a public meeting that was what we would consider to be not in good conduct. Like, I don't know, maybe they were to try to say that somebody should be charged with certain crimes that are made up or something like that. And then the
Nah,
public-
I'm going to
hold on.
stop you here
No, you
because
don't have to. I
nah,
have the
you're
point of
order.
I
embellishing.
have the floor.
I don't care that you have the floor.
You
You're
have the
not
floor.
going to
What's
disparage
the
me.
point? of-
You're
You're not gonna
embellishing.
disparage
I didn't call
You
you out.
did, and you know you did.
I did not call you out.
You're embellishing
I'm
right
giving
now.
an
I
example.
think you're getting off the topic. If you don't like it, vote against it. I've tried to work with you
So
on this
again,
and
if a member of this council does something that is embarrassing to the city, because I believe you have that in here somewhere.
what
listed
if
for-
Commissioner X or
Rip a
Mayor
sign
X
down.
gets in a fist fight outside?
That's
What
a great
what
example.
what do we
Let's talk
have
about that.
available
What
to
would
us?
happen if a commissioner got in a fist fight outside of this?
Well, first off,
establishment?
they'd be arrested and they'd probably have a legal issue. Secondly, this council should obviously take the initiative to hand something down because we have to be accountable to the people who put us here and we need to be accountable to each other. That's what I'm shooting for with this. Now, if you don't like it, I'm not going to argue anymore with you. Vote against it. I've said what I had to say. If there's any legitimate questions or anything that there's substance that I can clear up for you, I'm happy to do that. But beyond that, I really don't want to sit here and argue or debate it. If
No,
you don't
because
like it,
you've
just
already
vote
whipped your
against it.
votes and you've gotten together with people to determine that, hey, if somebody says something we don't like, we're going to choose what that is and we're going to censure them.
Well, then carry yourself like a professional and there's nothing to be censured about. That's what I say.
Yeah.
And that includes me. I'm making the rule. Guess what?
Sure.
That pertains to me too. I hold myself to the same standard. So we're either going to be professionals and have professional rules around here, or it's going to be like, well, we don't have nothing because that's the way it's always been. And then when you do have a real problem, you're not going to have any groundwork on how to address it.
So you're double talking. I completely agree. We need to hold ourselves to a higher standard of professionalism. Absolutely.
I'm going to move to close discussion here.
Well,
Second.
I had the floor.
Move to close
You take the
discussion.
floor for
You know how that
It
works?
stops.
Do you know,
Do
do you know how
you
that
have a
works?
motion and a second on the
Do
floor?
you know how that works?
You have a motion and a
When
second on
somebody
the
is
floor.
talking, they can't be interrupted.
You've exceeded the time limit. by
And you've exceeded
much.
your time limit.
You know what? I'm not going to debate this anymore. This just shows a little bit about what it is that
Go ahead.
people want
Actually,
to try to do.
here, you know what? Finish.
go ahead.
Go ahead. Finish. We'll let you talk.
No,
Go
no,
ahead.
that's fine. If that's
We've
what you
talked
want to do.
we've talked in circles. Go ahead. But after you're done, I'm going to make a motion that this gets sent to the Labor Council.
Any other discussion on the topic? I don't think anybody's had input from over here. Any thoughts on both of these items? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'm gonna, and you know what, actually, just so we're clear about this and we don't have problems like we had in the past, I'm gonna give you the language that I'm gonna say in my email when it gets sent to the Labor Council, and it's gonna say this: "Hello, Carl. Attached, please find our sample behavior and conduct policy and personnel complaint disciplinary procedure policy. Please review and provide any suggestions or changes as may be legally necessary." End of body of email. That's it. No opinions, no nothing. Is everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
Does anybody want me to change that?
What about the two items we identified here that that even our city attorney agreed are problematic that in the first policy? The one about how, well, I guess he didn't. The one about the police chief and the fire chief being excluded from public statements and appearances, and the other one where it talks about connection with testimonials and commercial enterprises.
Do you not want the police chief and the fire chief to coordinate with you if there's a large scale emergency here so that the message is consistent?
I don't think that's what it's saying. We do have policies and procedures for that.
We do? Where are they at? I haven't seen nothing like that. Otherwise, I wouldn't have put this together.
Well, Commissioner Udis can share with you our emergency action plan of how we have certain things that we have. But because that's not for public viewing.
No. Okay.
But, there are routine things that happen that a statement has to be made either by the police chief or the fire chief. And I don't think that they need to check in with somebody when they're doing the routine things.
I'm not looking to handicap them, but I think anything that usually they're going to submit, they're going to either coordinate with the commissioner or the mayor on it. So I think it's fair to, this is something that benefits you. I mean, you're being kept in the know about it. So I don't understand why, if you don't want that, then fine, sure. I mean, if everybody's agreeable to it, we'll take it out.
That's my only issue with those, that one. Anybody have an opinion on that? Unfortunately, Terry's not here tonight to give his feedback on the fire chief and the police chief. And that's up to you to make a motion.
Okay. I make a motion that the behavior and conduct policy and the disciplinary procedure and steps be sent to the Labor Council for review.
I'll second that motion.
Roll call, please.
Just send it for.
Aldrich.
Aye.
McDermott.
Aye.
Stefani.
Aye.
Kern.
No. All right, number 12, place on file 2024 first quarter building permits in the amount of $270,334. Any questions, concerns over the building permits?
I'll make a motion to place them on file.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Aldrich.
Aye.
McDermott.
Aye.
Stefani.
Aye.
Kern.
Number 13, ordinance number 1246-041524 executes a new power sales contract through 2055. Baldridge.
Yeah, we passed this, I believe, at the March 18th meeting. We're just going ahead and executing it. It's for the 30 years. It'll put us to the 2055 IMEA contract. I'd like to make a motion to pass that.
I'll second that motion.
Roll call, please.
Aldrich.
Aye.
McDermott.
Aye.
Stefani.
Aye.
Kern.
Number 14, ordinance number 1247-041524, grants variances to KNZB-West Becker Properties. Don't have a attribution name with this one. I'm not sure who put this one on.
I think this,
This is just a
From the-
follow-up, Jason, to action that was taken at a prior board meeting. It needed to be formalized in the form of an ordinance.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
roll call, please.
Aldrich.
Aye.
McDermott.
Aye.
Stefani.
Aye.
Kern.
Number 15, ordinance,
Jason, if I can interrupt.
Please.
So I don't know that you want to talk about the waters thing, but this relates to the waters thing. That's what this companies are. So following our last meeting, I related to Kelly Waters' attorney what the city's conditions would be for giving them the $20,700 up front to connect the water and sewer systems to their property line. They got back to me that they objected to the forfeiture clause I suggested at the end of my comments, where the property would be forfeited to the city if they ever closed the business and didn't repay the city for anything that was left within 60 days. They suggested as an alternative that they would grant a mortgage. And then we would have to go through a mortgage foreclosure process to,
That would end up costing the city more money.
well, it would cost a lot of money and it would be a lot of delay, but ultimately speaking, if the property sold for something more than was owed the city, and I can't imagine it wouldn't sell for more than $20,700, plus the foreclosure costs, which will probably be $3,000 to $5,000, and will take 2 years, if not 3, to get through. Which is why, it's up to you guys to decide whether you want to swap one out for the other. We could put an interest rate in there, I suggested to Jason, the minute that the business closed, and we could extend the 60 days to 90 days or something. But, my thought was you needed to have a pretty big hammer over them to get this money repaid to you, which is what you guys wanted.
Yeah.
But it's up to you to decide whether you want to entertain the request to change that one provision.
So they're saying they would prefer a mortgage. Correct?
To a forfeiture of the property to the city if they don't repay it in a timely fashion. So I want some direction from you guys as to, which way you want me to proceed, because I was given the task last time to start to work toward this agreement. And before I started, I submitted the terms to her attorney, and this is the answer I got.
I'd have to give it some thought.
Yeah, I mean, we're already offering a means to get an economic opportunity of $20,700,
And we've
Which is-
done multiple.
which is pretty significant, I think. I'm really concerned that the alternate counter proposal is one that would cost us another $3,000 more and potentially 2 years I don't know if I like that idea, on top of what we're already kind of giving them to make this happen.
Do we actually have an amount that we've spent on the property so far? Total?
Well, there's probably,
I
you're
think
talking
we
about
do.
like document review and site plan review.
Looking for water lines.
Legal fees,
legal
engineering
costs, legal
fees.
I realize it wasn't done for the city of Oglesby, but even our city engineer did some work for him as well.
A lot of economic development, though, does have a cost associated with this one. I am concerned that the costs for this one are probably a lot bigger than what the value of the property is, just because there's been so much back and forth and so much extra work for it.
Absolutely. And you gotta realize there's gonna be more people step up and want the same.
Well, that was my sticking point, was that if you're going to do it for one, you do it for all of them the same way.
Well, I
I
think what
care
makes,
about everybody in this town. I care about all the businesses the same.
where I think it becomes so complicated is, so we have public programs right now, such as like the facade agreement, right? And that's one that's clearly written out. Everybody follows those rules to get that. The other types of incentive programs that we do don't really follow a set guidelines of rules, and each one is on its own merits. And this is one of those in that same category. It just happens to be smaller than all of the other major ones that we've done, which adds another level of complexity to it. My recommendation is, I can't speak for the rest of the council, but to me, there needs to be a better counter proposal than that. I don't think us having to spend,
I don't think we need to go back and propose. I think, when somebody proposes you
Yeah.
something and they say no, we'll come back with something. It's not our job to keep throwing things
agree.
at them.
I agree.
Right, Pat? Or am I?
No,
agree.
but I think they deserve a response to their request to change the forfeiture to the mortgage foreclosure process.
I don't see where.
So I want some instruction from
you
you
guys want to
guys
think
so
more
I can
about
get
that, or
back.
do you want to be able to give?
Yeah, I'm not prepared to give you a up or down answer on
I'd
that
have to
right now.
review
I'd have to really look at it. I know we've put a lot of money into it, so.
There's a lot more to it than.
Okay,
Sounds good.
I'll just tell them the council has not come to a decision on
Okay.
making that change.
I'll make a motion to table it for now.
You
Well, it's
don't
not
need
on
to
the
do that.
agenda.
That wasn't
at
on the
all.
agenda. I think
Wasn't
that
on
was
the
just
agenda.
about the other one.
Okay.
All right, number 15, ordinance number excuse me, 1248-041524, grants a special use permit to Midwest Storage. I believe this is the special use to,
Correct,
For the
allow
zone.
for this storage facility. The variant, and it also mentions in there that the variances were denied.
Okay.
The zoning board did not recommend the variances, and you guys made the decision not to grant them. The plan commission did recommend the special use permit, and you made the decision to go along with that. So this grants the special use permit, but denies the variances,
All in one shot, right?
all in one shot.
I'll make a motion to approve.
And I'll second that motion.
roll call, please.
Baldridge,
Aye.
McDermott,
Aye.
Stefani,
Aye.
Kern.
Aye. Need some water or something. 16, approve purchase of items on bid package number 5 for Malik Substation, Baldridge.
We received information from BHMG. The city did not receive any bids for the specification K004 for substation equipment. The success of soliciting bids in the current conditions has proven very difficult. Since the project still requires these items, BHMG contacted the preferred manufacturer for quotes for the items. The quotes are from Old Castle, $69,909 for the cable trench, total bid price, a lead time of 12 to 14 weeks. And from Northwest Management of $8,415 for the cable tray, and another lead time of 12 to 14 weeks. I asked that we get going and put this together, and allow us to go ahead and accept those bids.
Are you- you got a motion?
Any discussion?
Make a motion.
Motion.
Whatever.
There's a motion. Can I get a second?
I'll second that motion.
Roll call, please.
Baldridge,
Aye.
McDermott,
Aye.
Stefani,
Aye.
Kern.
Number 17, approve agreement with Ryan Duncan and Kylie Cienza Duncan. Pat, did you want to touch on this at all? I know we've talked about this for a while.
I can. Following the last meeting and the decisions you made, I prepared an agreement, which I've shared with Kaylee and Ryan, and I think they're ready to sign it. And I think as long, it met with all the terms that you talked about. I don't know that you guys have read it or not, but I did share it, I think, with Jason and Becky some time ago. So it met with all those terms, and everybody's ready to sign it. That will allow Becky to move forward and approve the building permit for the new house on the new lot, lift the stop work order on the old lot so that the dirt from the new lot can be used to fill in the hole at the old lot and hopefully bring everybody back to square one here.
I know this has been complicated and it's gone on for a really long time. It's truly unfortunate. So, but it's good that we have some finality here on this, and the public can know that lot will get filled in. Because I know that's been a rising concern. So I'm just very excited that we're looking to finally move forward and put one situation at a time resolved, right? All right. Is there any other questions, concerns over that?
I'll make a,
They're all good with everything then?
Yes, they're here tonight, and I think they're fine with it.
I'll make a
They're
motion to
shaking their
approve.
heads. I can see them.
Enter into the minutes that they were.
I'll make a motion to approve.
And I'll second that motion.
Roll call, please.
Baldridge.
Aye.
McDermott,
Aye.
Stefani,
Aye.
Kern.
Aye. Number 18, old business. Update on signage for 7th grade basketball team at Courtyard Park. So just wanted to give an update here. I know we talked about this. There was a consensus to at least try to get a quote to move forward with it. One of the things that Mr. Baldridge stated last time, I thought more about, and I talked with JP, and he is right. There is looking to be some modifications made to Courtyard Park down there, and it probably would be a little silly at this point to put up a nice sign that commemorates the basketball team, knowing if the basketball court's going to move or shift or make some kind of modification. Probably would be best to get something. I do want to look into getting that up there, but I think we want to make sure that that's done after we know the final plans of what Courtyard Park is going to look like. So that way we don't put a sign up here and then all of a sudden the basketball court gets moved to someplace that's not where the sign is. We don't want to be messing with that. So I just want to give that update. Number 19, new business. I don't think we have anything. Number 20, public comments over any topic.
Drew Raymond, and I think you know me. What I got is, if I go home tonight and park my car on the sidewalk, will I get a ticket? Nothing? Crickets? Okay, the reason why I'm asking is, the house across the street from me, since the people have been there, sidewalks. At Morris Street, those people purposely park on the sidewalk. So it's like, wait a minute, I thought pedestrians had, priority on the sidewalk. And Mayor, please don't ever accuse me or anybody else of ever wasting time, because you waste more time than anybody. I've been coming since '74, and nobody wastes time like you do. Nobody.
Did have one comment there that I thought was valuable to make a comment on about cars in lots. So there has been.
Not a lot.
Oh,
Parking on the sidewalk. There's one there and one there. I'll bet you $1,000 they're still there, Mayor.
So I wanted to comment on one thing. There has been a large number of residents that has reached out to myself and or Commissioner Udis about cars that have been in lots. And as I've mentioned to these individuals, but it's probably worth speaking to publicly, so that way they don't have to feel like they have to just come to us for it. If people are running into those kind of problems, that is where you can call the non-emergency police line if people are doing violations for such as that. I would think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, somebody parked on the sidewalk would be the same thing that somebody could call in and the police would be happy to go over there and take a look at that.
Well, it's
that's all I
been
got.
that way for years, man. I've been in my house for 23 years, and these people at least 4 or 5 years.
Craig, did you have anything?
Yeah, the behavior conduct policy and personal complaints procedures is that available for public viewing before it gets gavelled in and passed? You're gonna send it to the labor lawyer.
So
Can we see it too?
So the rules and stuff like that, my understanding is when something's in a draft format, it's not necessarily subject to public
Oh, yeah.
view.
Correct.
However, if we were going to have it on the agenda for final adoption, yes, then that is available for public view. Because things could be completely modified or changed or whatever. So that's why those kind of documents don't go out to the public, because they don't have any value.
They're not in final
And
form.
Greg, if you have any specific questions about it, I'll definitely take the time and I'm happy to talk with you
I
about it.
kind of like to read it over, but, and I wanted to go on record from the two, Public Parks Board meetings that we sort of had last week. I am not in favor of losing the liquor, distribution at Lehigh Park. That's, and the two shelters that is in the park, the second shelter with a little more parking back there by the disc golf course could also be a rent out, smaller, shelter. And I'm in favor of keeping alcohol in the park.
Hi. I think you guys know me, Austin Cullen. The one thing I would say regarding the whole, I don't remember if it was, I think it was a behavior and conduct policy, but the whole like testimonials and stuff like that for any businesses that come into town. I think Surf Internet has been a great addition. I think obviously any more infrastructure, digital infrastructure we can get in the city is great. I think any more competition we can get in the city is great. The one thing I would say though is I do think for any public official to be kind of giving a testimonial or anything like that to any company for the purposes of advertisement, I do think that's a little ethically dubious. And so I would just say that I don't support anything like that. I think the city, like I said, I think Surf has been a great addition, but I think the city has to be as neutral as humanly possible on any businesses in town. And you have to allow Surf to compete fairly with Xfinity and with AT&T and stuff like that. I don't think it's right to take any sides at all. So you have to be as neutral as possible. The other thing is, I think in terms of the personnel complaints, disciplinary procedures, and Pat, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't really think we would even need to have anything on file ordinance-wise in order to censure a member of the city council. I mean, if the council decided that they wanted to do that, I think they could theoretically
I think
do
you're
that.
absolutely right about that.
Yeah, and so I don't necessarily know if something like that's even so much necessary. As far as the censoring is concerned, I mean, I suppose if it was something that was drastic, yeah, I certainly would support it. But unless it was something that drastic, I, maybe refrain from it. But yeah, that's where I'm at. So thanks.
Thank you.
Forgot something?
On the policy stuff on the behavior, Austin made me think of something. Just could, any of you could say something anywhere out on the street, and then somebody picks up on it, the mayor said that, and then it gets reported as the mayor said it, and then you'd have to be defending yourself against something that really you weren't saying in a mayor or commissioner capacity, but somebody knows you're the mayor or the commissioner and quoted you as saying it. So I think it's tricky business what I was hearing you read.
Like I said, Greg, I'm happy to take the time with you. If you want to talk to me about it, I'm glad to give you the time.
All right. Thank you much. Number 21, Commissioner reports. Commissioner Stefanelli.
Okay, our insurance cooperative has completed the risk assessment for all of our city buildings. A copy of the report with findings will be available in the next few weeks. Would be my suggestion to the council that we address any of the findings or recommendations by the loss control representative to minimize our exposure and keep our annual premiums low. Our mandatory workplace training is at about 80% complete, and we're on track to be in compliance, which also assists us with our insurance rate and our risk score. Finally, I would just ask the other commissioners to please get back to the city clerk with the employees that you might be able to provide for assistance with the recycling event. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner McDermott.
Okay, I got, wood chipping will begin on April 29th. Hydrant flush will be the first week in June. I know people are looking to plant trees and bushes. To get your locates, just call Julie. It's a 1-800 number, okay? I'll do my best to try to get that on Facebook, and maybe in the next billing cycle, we'll put it on the, if I can. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Baldridge.
The bucket truck has been delivered to J.J. Kane Auction Company in South Beloit and is scheduled to be auctioned on May 8th. They emailed, the AT-37G will be in our May 8th sale. Now that it's at our yard in South Beloit, we will be handling the photographing, description, advertising, etc. Once the unit goes active on our website, I will send you a link to review. That's all I have. I have more, but not just on that. This Wednesday, We Are Oglesby, the nonprofit organization best known for their awesome winter parades, is having an open house at the Elks with guest speaker LaSalle County CASA. There will be food and a door prize up to $150 value from their participating members. They're always looking for volunteers, and as little as 1 hour of your time would make such a difference. Reach them at We Are Oglesby on Facebook or weareoglesby.net. They are also working with JP and myself for proposed signage near the boat launch and a centralized location near the city parking lot. They've applied for a grant and should have an update by the end of this month. Once the status of that grant is known, they will collaborate with the park board and the council on final details. Also, I have been in contact with a very nice representative from SURF. It seems as if she's getting a lot of our concerns addressed and quickly. She stated that the risers on the poles should be completed in the next couple of days and that the Dale Avenue issue was limited to 2 households who now don't want the SURF internet, but it has been rectified. Any other concerns or questions, please contact me at 481-4636. I'd like to thank the residents and NCICG for the very informative April 11th LEI presentation, as well as tonight's. It's happy to see so much interest and engagement. We look forward to continuing discussions with NCICG and our park board in an effort to devise the best plan for one of our most valuable assets, as well as the housing program for tonight. That looks very promising. A big thank you to our electric department for completing a few concerns from residents recently. And with that, that's all I have.
Thank you. Great report. Really appreciate it. All right. 22, Mayor's report. Big thing I got is talking a little bit about Fun Fest here. So, Fun Fest is going to be the 13th through the 16th. This is our 14th Fun Fest after it's been on hiatus from the well-remembered Oglesby days. The kind of general theme of this year is going to be centered around homecoming. The summer's big headliner is Oglesby native Ron Sharp. The Sharp family singers. They got some national notoriety through America's Got Talent. They had a Christmas special on Kelly and Mark in the morning. They've been on Broadway doing many Disney covers. So this is Ron's hometown, so he's gonna be back to perform for his fans. But go along with the rest of the homecoming theme, right? So Thursday is going to be a country night. We're going to Fueled by Whiskey, Boys in the Band, and Alabama Tribute Band. Friday is going to be a throwback to none other than to Mr. Oglesby, Butch Carey. The name of that night is going to be Butch's Blast from the Past. For those that have been around for a while, you know everything about Butch Carey. For those that are relatively new, Butch Carey is a force to be reckoned with. He was somebody that really created Oglesby Days back in the day, and the transition into what Oglesby Fun Fest is today. Without him, we would not have what Oglesby Fun Fest is today. So we have Butch's Favorites acts coming back, which is Lance Lipinski and the Lovers, followed by the Blues Brothers. So it's been a while since the Blues Brothers have been here, so we're gonna have to follow up on their criminal activity and see what we can do to see how things are going with them lately. There should be more fun stuff to follow with that. Saturday is going to be 80s Legends Night, local band 303, followed by a Queen cover band. I don't know if I've ever seen a Queen cover band called Queen Explosion. Boy, oh boy, I'm looking forward to a Bohemian Rhapsody. I don't know if I've seen a cover band do that yet. And then Sunday is going to be themed The Stars Come Home. We have Patty's Favorite Sons and the Boat Drunks before the big fireworks finale, but right in the middle of them will be the Sharp Family Singers coming to perform. So something we should be very excited about. Not just music is entertainment that's coming back. We got a couple big shows. For those that might remember the Timberworks show, that's where they do the log rolling, where they're out there. They're going to be multiple shows over multiple days. The Reptile show will be back for the kids. And the kids party in the park is going to be back big as what it used to be in the day. So really fantastic. The OglesbyFunFest.com is going to be coming online soon. It's going to have a lot of details there. There'll be updates throughout each week that of what's coming. I want to thank the sponsors. We've had more sponsors this year, which is really helpful because this Fun Fest is going to be one of the bigger ones that we've had. We've had a lot of time to plan for it, and there's been an incredible amount of work by really all the departments. So there is still room for more sponsorships out there yet. So if there's somebody that's out there that wants to get a specific sponsorship for a specific thing, please contact the clerk's office. The last thing I was going to say is just to kind of echo what Commissioner Baldridge said. Last week, we had a park board meeting and an OSLA grant meeting. And I really appreciate not only NCICG, but what the park board does. There was a lot of healthy discussions both days. And I can't stress this enough. We need to make sure that we're fostering an environment where it's okay for people to say things that we think are great, things that we don't like about stuff like that. Because if we don't have people communicating publicly about the things that we like and don't like, we won't find a way to stop bad ideas, right? We need to hear the good with the bad, and then respect everybody's opinions. And there is a lot of room for growth down there, really at all of our parks. But I think there's a lot of big stuff that we can do at Lehigh Park yet, and I look forward to that. So please get involved. Please get your opinions out there so we can utilize that. And that is all I have. I don't believe we have executive session tonight, unless somebody had something new come up. Other than that, number 24, if I can get a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Baldridge.
Aye.
McDermott.
Aye.
Stefani.
Aye.
Kern.
Hi,
Hey, Mayor,
we are adjourned.
you're wrong about Oglesby Days. It was started by Frank Westfall Senior.
Okay.
You weren't here then, but I was.
Okay. My understanding, it was Butch Carey that drove all around to go to bring the entertainment in.
Enjoy your stay, Mayor. It's good to be a short one.